I'm here with my friend Dyron Daughrity. My name is Daniel McCoy, editorial director for renew.org. Dyron, you're about to take a big trip. You want to tell us about the trip? I'll be taking a big trip to Des Moines, but you're taking a trip to where are you going?
Well, this summer I'll be doing a lot of my conference stuff and some research. So I'm going to Rome, and so I'll be presenting a paper there at a big conference that's intending to kind of bridge the Roman Catholic and the Eastern Orthodox Christians. So as a Protestant, that's a real honor to be a part of that. I'm also going to present a paper, and by the way, also in Italy, I'm going to be looking at monasteries. I love studying monasticism and talking with monks and things. That's something I've been into since I was a college student, really. And then I would say after that, I have to present a paper on the Council of Nicaea. I'll be doing that in New York City for a conference there. And then a little later in the summer, I'll be going to Crete, which is the largest island of Greece, again to study Christian monasticism and to go to a bunch of different Christian monasteries in the land where Paul had a major shipwreck, if you recall, in the book of
Yeah.
Acts.
Wow. Well, that's very cool. That's very cool. And today we're talking with a Sikh about Sikhism, and we're going to be talking with a guy named Gajinder Shah Singh. He's on the board of directors of the Nanak Sadan Sikh Temple and Community Center, and just a delightful conversation with him. But what is Sikhism, Dyron? How would you define Sikhism? Kind of help us understand this fairly recent religion.
Sure. Yeah. The Sikhism is it comes out of India, and so it assumes a lot of the things that you get from Indian religions. So whenever you talk about Indian religions, the most important thing is reincarnation. And so basically, the big challenge of Sikhism is that you're trying to get off the wheel of rebirth. So it's kind of funny as Christians, we want to live forever, where in Indian religions you're trying to stop living forever. So it's fascinating. Whenever I teach my students about that, they're like, "Why would you want to stop living? Why would you want to exit eternal life?"
Yeah.
Whereas Christians, you want to enter eternal life. So it's
Hmm.
kind of backwards like that. Now Sikhism is probably the youngest. I mean, you have Scientology, but it's one of the younger of the major religions. It goes back to about the time of the Protestant Reformation, so it's been with us about 500 years. Its founder, I guess you could say, is Guru Nanak. Guru 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 Nanak. He's the founder. He's the first important guy in the religion, and Guru Nanak. And so this is like around the year 1500, right in there. So basically, his context, what's going on during his day, is there is a big battle. This is in India. This is in northwest India, a place called the Punjab, which still exists, by the way. It's loaded with Sikhs there, kind of the epicenter of the world's Sikh population. And when I say Sikh, it's Sikh. It's how they spell it. It's pronounced Sikh. All right. And so a lot of Sikhs there. But what was going on is India was basically ruled by Muslims at that time. Okay. So you had Hinduism, which was the Indians. And then you had the Arabs who had come to India and they were bringing Islam. And so basically, Guru Nanak is credited with, basically trying to point out uh, that the truth is somewhere in between. The Muslims don't have it all figured out. The Hindus don't have it all figured out. And so basically, whenever you look at Sikhism, it involves elements of both. Now, if you were to just sort of, and by the way, there are 10 of these great leaders, these great gurus, these great teachers, 10 of them. And all 10 of them, they're basically dealing with conflict with Islam because Islam was the political powerhouse in those days. And so they end up getting in lots of battles with the Muslim rulers of the age. And so what you get is these 10 gurus, but the 10th guru, whenever he died, he decided that the final guru would be the text of Sikhs, which is called the Guru Granth Sahib. So if you go into a Sikh temple today, it's called a Gurdwara. If you go into a Sikh temple, you're going to see a book, usually underneath a canopy. And that book is their inspiration. That's their living guru today. That's their living guru. So you're not going to find them worshiping a person. You're going to see them revering this text. So that text, the Guru Granth Sahib, is crucial today. Now, if you want to go and like do a pilgrimage for Sikhism, I did this actually one year. I went to the epicenter of Sikhism. It's actually in the northwest corner, northwestern part of India. It's right on the border with Pakistan. It's a city called Amritsar. It's called Amritsar. And so they have this famous golden temple there that you can't even hardly think of Sikhism without thinking of the golden temple. So Amritsar is to Sikhism like what Mecca is, or to Muslims, or Jerusalem is to Christians and Jews. It's like the most important place, like hands down. Like Jerusalem is for Christians, where Jesus died and resurrected, and this is kind of where the church began and so forth. And they feel that way towards Amritsar. It's a wonderful city, and that Golden Temple compound is just awesome. But what Sikhs believe is really crucial, and any Sikh is going to practice what they call the 5 Ks. And so you have the Kesh. This is Sikhs who are what they call Khalsa. This is like pure Sikhs that do everything by the book. And not all Sikhs do, just like not all Christians are celibate, like Jesus. Jesus said, "Follow me." He never married. He was single. We don't all do that. But the ideal is Jesus, of course. But they have that same kind of concept in Sikhism, is not all Sikhs are able to do this. But if you're really going to try for Khalsa, if you're really going to shoot for the top, you're going to have uncut. You're not going to shave any of your hair and all over your body. You're going to let your beard grow. You're going to tuck it up. You're going to wear a turban, which is going to kind of keep all the hair together. You're also going to have a kara. You're going to have a steel bracelet. This is on the right wrist. You're going to have a steel bracelet. And it's a reminder to live a virtuous and true and pure life. You're going to have a comb. You're going to have it's made of wood, a wooden comb that you keep with you at all times. This is to comb your hair every day, to comb your beard, because they say that a self-respecting individual is well groomed. Then they also have the what they call the kachera. This is the cotton underwear. And it's to remind you of your sexuality, to remind yourself that if you do marry, you remain devoted to that spouse, that you don't, sleep around and you don't do immoral things. And those underwear are a constant reminder when you take off your clothes that I belong to God, my private parts belong to God. I need to honor God and not commit any kind of sexual immorality. And then finally, this is probably the most controversial one. It's the kirpan, which is the sword. As I mentioned, in those early days, the Sikhs were constantly being attacked by the political rulers at that time that were Muslims. And so they carried a sword with them the men carried a sword with them at all time. And so they had to be prepared for battle. And so nowadays the sword is very small. It's very diminished. So some of them are like 3 inches long, and some of them are just ornamental, almost like wearing a cross around your necklace. Something like that. They just carry with them. But it's to remind them self-defense, that you defend the oppressed, you look after the weak. But mainly is you protect your community. You protect the Sikh community. It's like a vow that I will always stand up for the Sikh people, like they did in those early days. And they had to go to war like many times, like often. And so that's a reminder of their history, and it's a reminder to protect their community. Those are called the 5 Ks of Sikhism.
Yeah. So similarity with Christianity, difference. Here's what I would pick in terms of a major similarity. As I understand it, Sikhs are a singing community. They believe in one God, which that's something that's clearly a Muslim, something they share with Islam. The reincarnation, that they got some things from that they share with Hinduism as well. But in terms of their relationship with God, it seems that they have a relationship of devotion, of worship, of even singing to God. So I think that's a similarity. A big difference, I would say, would be that that idea that we do have the reincarnation, endless kind of opportunities to get it right versus one life that's of ultimate significance. So what about
Mhm.
you, Dyron? What would be a similarity and a difference that you would want to point out?
Yeah, there's several similarities. I would say that their God they call uh, Satnam, which is the holy name is how they refer to God. Kind of like Jews will do this. They don't sometimes they say Waheguru. They have a few names for God. Waheguru is like the great teacher, the almighty teacher, but then Satnam is the great name. But they're monotheists. I mean, they believe in one God, and so I think this is probably the most conspicuous connection between Christians and Muslims and Jews, because most people in South Asia, the Hindus, they believe in lots of gods, and so whenever you run into the Sikhs, though, they believe in one God. So it's kind of a unique thing. And of course, the other two communities, the Buddhists and the Jains, tend not to believe in deities. They have different Buddhas and things, but they tend not to believe in like creator gods. So I would say that another similarity is that Sikhs believe in love for God. I mean, they're all their singing that you mentioned, that's all about kind of inculcating love in your heart towards God. And so this is, I think, would be a very, very similar to like evangelical or Roman Catholic Christianity, where you develop a love relationship with Jesus Christ. As far as differences, I would say that to a Christian, Sikhs would sound almost kind of like Old Testament Christians, where that you have to do these things, these like the comb, the hair, the sword, the kirpan, things like that. And where I think what you get in the New Testament is Paul is saying, look, it's about the heart, which I don't think Sikhs would deny that. Of course, it's about the heart, but you have these things that are really crucial in order to be a good Sikh. You have to do these five things. Whereas I think in the New Testament, the Apostle Paul is trying to take Christians away from any kind of like attaching your salvation to anything. He's basically saying, it doesn't matter what you eat. That's not really what it's about. What it's really about is cultivating a love for God and a trust in Jesus Christ as the Redeemer, as the Lord and the Savior and the Messiah. So I would say that's kind of the main difference between a really solid Christian and a really solid Sikh or Khalsa Sikh. It's a Sikh that does these five things. Whereas I think a Christian, Paul is trying to get us away from trusting in those practices or those habits. He's trying to get us to trust in Jesus Christ. Well, welcome to our podcast, Mr. Shah Singh. I'm Dyron Daughrity. You and I, we go back many years, almost 2 decades, something like that. You have welcomed me at the Gurdwara in North Hills, right? Isn't that the name of the town, or
Yes, sir.
North Hills? And big, beautiful, newer facility that I've enjoyed the hospitality there many times. I've sent many students there over the years. And of course, the Sikh community, it's interesting. The Sikh community is a welcoming community. I think a lot of people look at Sikhs and they say, well, they have the turban and the beard, and sometimes the women are wearing the covering and stuff. And so people are a little nervous in America. But once you get to know Sikhs, you realize that they're not insular people. They're not introverts. They're happy to welcome you. And Mr. Shah Singh, you know this, that I send out students to all kinds of religions. I send them to Buddhist places, to Christian, Jewish places. But some of the best experiences have come from Sikh Gurdwaras because of the welcoming nature of it. I've never had a student that came back with an inhospitable type of situation. Always welcomed. I'll always have a very pleasant experience. So just to our audience, I'll just say that my name's Professor Dyron Daughrity. I teach at Pepperdine. I teach world religions and history of religion. And Daniel is a co-host. And Daniel, could you introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, my name is Daniel McCoy. I'm the editorial director for renew.org, as well as a part-time professor of philosophy and world religions and ethics at Ozark Christian College.
All right. And Mr. Shah Singh, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Gajinder Shah Singh. Currently, I'm a citizen of US. I've been here since 1971. I got my immigration and landed here with the green card. Just want to insist on that, uh, given the present environment. Uh, at the same time, I came to USA because of a friend of mine who was a Peace Corps volunteer in Ethiopia, Northern Africa. His name is David Landis, a very dear friend. He actually hosted us in West Los Angeles. Me and my wife gave the only single bedroom he had for us for 30 days before we found a place. Hospitality is there, everywhere. No question about it. And then he was the one who first found me a job at UCLA. From there, my background actually in education is, in teaching. I got a degree in teaching English as second language and also mathematics to the high school, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. But I've practically forgotten most of the math part because if you don't practice it, you don't remember it. On the other hand, I have a little bit of a background in the family connecting us to the religious faith. The fourth guru of the Sikhs, Guru Ram Das, was at that time involved in building the Golden Temple and the pond there, or the nectar or whatever, tank during the 15th century, I believe it was. Yeah, 15th or 16th century sometimes. I don't have the dates in front of me. And our forefather, I am in the 12th place down from our forefather. His name was Soma Ram. And he was, working hard to support his family. And he used to, go and have a cart to sell food or fresh food and make money for the family. And he also decided that whatever he made, he's going to donate at least 10% of it to the Golden Temple construction project. And, when the Guru saw many people felt that, okay, this person is really, really treading the right path of truth and compassion. So the Guru approached him that, we are a little bit short of funds to pay the day laborers. Can you please share with me something? So he gave all the earnings for the day, and that continued for a week. When the Guru came again on the 7th day, and he says, "Here, sir," and the Guru said, "No, today I did not come to take anything from you. I came to give you. From this day onward, you will be known as not Soma Ram, but Soma Shah." Shah actually is a word which means person with money and all that. But here, the significance was different. He asked him that you're going to have plenty of, the treasure of the name of the Lord, and you can go and spread the word. So he sent our forefather to Northwest to spread the word. And that is the story. Among our forefathers, I even have made a family tree, which shows how and where we come down to. And it's not only something that gives us something special, but then it also brings a lot of responsibility. We cannot do anything wrong. I mean, we human beings are subject to weaknesses, many weaknesses, and and so it puts us on alert so that we don't do anything wrong. And as I told both you that I have been working in Los Angeles in the financial services industry. I have spent almost 52 years. It will be 52 on July 26th. And I'm also involved in the Gurdwara. If you remember, Dr. Daugherty, it was 2007 when you came to the little garage that we had on Parthenia Street, and we were actually in the process of building this Gurdwara. It took us some time. We started in 2002 and completed it in 2014 when we got the occupancy. And yes, it's a nice place because we wanted to build a place where we can educate our children. I mean, educate in the right way. Not in the ritualistic way, but in the right way. The Guru Granth Sahib, our living Guru, is the original writings. It's not just of the Sikh Gurus. There are 5 of the 6 Gurus' writings in there, and then there are other saints. For example, Bhagat Kabir, Saint Kabir, who was 98 years before Guru Nanak was born. And his sayings have been also included there.
Mr. Shah Singh, some of our listeners may know very little about Sikhism. Now, it's not our place to give an overview of the religion, but I would just like to say to our viewers that Sikhism, the first guru, there was 10 gurus, 10 leaders, and it begins around the time of the Protestant Reformation, for late 1400s, early 1500s, and then after the 10th guru, the 10th teacher in Sikhism, they instituted a book. The final guru would be the Guru Granth Sahib, the text of Sikhs, which is actually a compilation of lots of different authors and lots of different, you get different religious perspectives in there.
Right.
So it's an amazing text. It is the foundation of their. It's at the very heart of their religion. So if a person ever walks into a Sikh temple, which is typically called a gurdwara, they'll see a canopy, and underneath the canopy they will see this book, and that's the Guru Granth Sahib. Of course, there's another aspect to Sikhism that's crucial, and that is that it's really rooted in, I guess we could say, Northwest India, which, Mr. Shah Singh, I told you that I went there. I went to Amritsar. Amritsar is sort of the great city of Sikhism, right on the border of, it's within India, but right on the border of India, Pakistan. And I went there 2 years ago, and I went to the Golden Temple, and you spoke of the lake that surrounds the Golden Temple. I went there. I went all over the compound, which is a massive, very fascinating compound. You could spend days there reading all the history on the walls and the little messages that are engraved into the walls. And of course, there's thousands upon thousands of people there at any given time, making, like a pilgrimage. And then, Mr. Shah Singh, I don't know if I told you, on that same trip, this was two years ago, I also went up to Leh. I went up to Ladakh in Jammu Kashmir.
Yes.
And up in there, they have some Sikh gurdwaras where Guru Nanak went.
Yes.
So even I was not, because that part of my trip was mainly geared at studying Buddhism. But I got up in there because there's Buddhist temples everywhere up in Ladakh region. It's right. Tibetan, it's more Tibet. But then I saw these Sikh gurdwaras here and there, and I would pop in and they say, yeah, Guru Nanak was here many years ago. And so that was fascinating to, not expecting anything Sikh up in that kind of remote area of India, India, Pakistan, China, right up in there. It's a very fraught, kind of militarized zone. But it was really wonderful to encounter some Sikh friends up in there.
Right.
Well, Mr. Shah Singh? No, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, in these interviews, we like to ask our interviewees about any common misconceptions that Westerners, or let's say Americans, since you've lived most of your life in the United States, especially in LA, what kind of misconceptions do you encounter amongst the locals here in LA?
When I first came in, and I said I was hosted by a very good friend, Mr. David Landis, in West Los Angeles for a month. And of course, he worked at UCLA, and I would go to buy groceries at the Hughes store nearby. And when I went there, because there were not too many people they had seen with turbans and beard, so this little girl, goes to her mom's legs and holds her, Mama, Genie, Genie, Genie. So that was not discrimination, but that is ignorance on the part of a lot of the people. But again, our population is not that big that people should know. But now that, a lot of people have come here. And let me pause here for a second and go back a little bit. I think that during the early part of the 20th century, in the 1900s, India was struggling for independence. That's when a lot of the Sikhs came to Canada and also Northern California. And they started an independence movement from this part of the world, Canada as well as from Northern California. So they are known as the Ghadari Babas, the old people of the Baba is actually an older person, older male, and Ghadari means one who took part in the revolution. Or Ghadar is actually in a negative sense, but because my background is teaching, so I'm kind of trying to give the exact meaning. Ghadar is actually rebellion. So the rebellious Babas, the rebellious old people, and they really did a lot of things, and then eventually they assisted people back in India. Bhagat Singh, the martyr who was, actually hanged by the British people in northern India because of his demand for free India. So all these things, because the number of the people was only 2% in India. The Sikhs were 2%, but their contribution in terms of independence, movements, fatalities, martyrdom, if you want to see. I don't know how we can put the right word, but that's what they did. They sacrificed their lives for the sake of the nation.
And when you say nation, do you mean an independent Sikh country, or we're talking about India?
It was India.
Okay.
See, it was never going separate, but politics is again a different subject. When I was 14, 15 years old and had just finished my high school, gone to college, there was this movement that they should have a province that would be known as a Sikh province. And there was a lot of agitation, and people were sent to jails. And when we saw that, that's the reason. That was one of the reasons that both me and my brother, we tried to leave India. And we said, we're going to have to do something where nobody's going to bother you. All you do is work hard, make a nice living, and just so the choice was USA.
Yeah, a lot of this background goes back to 1947 when the Great Partition happened between India and Pakistan. Pakistan basically being a Sharia Muslim state, and India being kind of a religiously plural state. And there were some that were interested, some Sikhs that wanted to see a Sikh state. It makes sense actually, because the Sikhs were very prominent in an area that's right on the border. It's about half in Pakistan, about half maybe 2/3 in Pakistan, 2/3 in India. It's called Punjab, and that place is strongly Sikh. And so there, to this day, there's people that still Sikhs and non-Sikhs that say, that should have been made into a Sikh state. And some of that longing has continued. When you say, Mr. Shah Singh, is that a fair representation?
It is to some extent, because India had 2,000 principalities, different languages, there are 27 official languages where they have those kinds of newspapers printed every day, and they consider themselves Indians. There are Christians, there are Muslims, there are, actually closer to the Jewish people, they're known as Parsis in India. The Tata industry is owned by the Parsis. So, India is a place which is a, melting pot of too many different languages, cultures, religions, and people have lived together, very well. But when some people try to do stuff that is not fair, if they work against, when somebody has power, they want to abuse their power. They want to show that, we are in power. So life is not that long that you want to waste fighting for it. I'm sure there are other places, and I think God had, kind of decided for us to travel and come to USA, and here we are, and we are very happy. We are very happy where we are.
I should just say here that in India they call this small ethnic group religion Parsis, and this is not Sikhism. This is a different religion. But here in the West, we typically say Zoroastrianism.
Zoroastrian, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to interview a Zoroastrian at some point. Oh no, we haven't yet, right, Daniel?
Hopefully at some point. It's not on the schedule yet.
It's not on the schedule yet. Okay. So we and I've interacted with Zoroastrians here. They're a fascinating group, but they're mainly based in India, in Mumbai. I mean, that's the main center of Zoroastrians. They're associated with they're associated with Iran, but they've almost left Iran, and they're mainly in India, because India has always been a tolerant society,
right,
for religion. Mr. Shah Singh, let me ask you: do you have questions about Christianity? I mean, earlier before we had this conversation, you said something about how we have many different groupings.
Honestly, I don't have any question about Christianity, because I believe in making good friends. I live here in the Oaks of Calabasas, and I have lots of neighbors, and never do we consider anybody alien, because we all speak a common language, which is English. And, to give you a small example, when we first moved into this neighborhood, it was 2002. And we were actually looking for a house that would fit our needs. But then one new house was built, and it fell through escrow. And it was like almost 6,900 square feet, large lot and all that. We bought it. We bought it because we had decided to move here. And what happened was, right across the street was Daryl Hughley, the stand-up comedian. And on my one side was a CEO of Paramount Studio. On the other side was some actress living, so like we were in the middle of the who's who street, and DL would walk in and he says, "Oh my God, the food smells good." I said, "Come on in, man," So we never had any issues. And after that, we had this house almost literally custom built, and it's a smaller home. And we have lived with neighbors, are very friendly. They all, love us, and we love them. And it's just amazing. It's an amazing, safe, quiet neighborhood. We just love it.
You've been in America longer than I've been alive. So you came in 71, and I was born in 1973. So you've been here a long time. So this is definitely home. Do you get back to India very often?
I have gone, a few times. Initially, I was going there because my family was there, but then not that frequently, because travel was not inexpensive. At the same time, I developed some health issues during the year 98, 99. And I had lower back issues, knee problems. So they were waiting for me to get back, replace them or do some major surgeries on my body. And somebody suggested that I should go to South India, Kerala. I went there, alternate medicine, and they discovered that I also had almost leukemia in progress. And I came back and I asked my doctor, they said, oh, yeah, you only have 137,000 of white blood counts. We have to wait until they become 250,000. Then we'll give you the, radiation or chemotherapy. And I said, oh. So when I went back to Kerala a few months later, he says, I'm going to incorporate medicine for you. And the doctors here were surprised. They could not believe it. And they said, one of my oncologists said, please don't stop taking this medicine ever in your life. And I take it even today. So I've been cured. So that is the only reason I have traveled. Other than that, my work here keeps me here. At the same time, the Gurdwara, the temple, we've started actually a school here in the Gurdwara, but due to COVID, we had to shut it down. And now we are reactivating it. And I am actually, as I said, thinking of not doing my business work, but I want to run 2 classes, one for the adults who want to know about our scriptures. Just take one portion of the scripture because it's 1,430 in different headings. We can take one and I can explain in English. At the same time, one class for the children, because the children really will not understand if they're not taught properly, not in their lingo here.
Well, I want to encourage our viewers to go to a Gurdwara, go to a Sikh temple, get to know some Sikhs. You'll have a friend for life, just like I have with Mr. Shah Singh. Anytime we get together, it's like we pick up where we left off, and I think that's important, and I think that's what Daniel and I are trying to foster in this series is good dialogue, good conversations, good relationships, friendship between people of different religions, and that gives both religions an opportunity to open up and to share their truth and to share their ideas, and it creates space for that in a peaceful, friendly environment. Mr. Shah Singh, one more question.
Yes,
how can Christians be considerate, be hospitable to the Sikh community? Let's say somebody's watching from, Chicago or Miami or New York, Texas. How can the Christian community be supportive of Sikhs wherever they are together?
The best way to do that is to go visit a Gurdwara, because I believe that almost every state in USA, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, there's a Gurdwara. I mean, if there are 5 or 10 families, then, also there are non-Sikhs who go there. Among some Hindus who are Punjabis, they call themselves Sahajdhari. That means that they are slowly trying to learn the ways of Sikhs. And then the Sindhis, you people from the province Sindh, they're believers in Guru Nanak's teachings. So even our Gurdwara, I have seen people who've been here for 40 years, for 45 years, they're coming to the Gurdwara. So if this podcast is being, listened in any part of the USA, I'm sure there will be a Sikh temple near you. And if you please go there on a Sunday for sure, you will be served with, you'll be welcomed and you'll be served with hot meals. And also you will get what we call in Catholicism communion. This is for everybody. It's not for Catholics, or this is not for Christians. This is for everybody who goes there. And it's a welcoming thing, to go there. And the reason for this, just want to add a little bit, the reason for the meals that are, served there is because originally the Sikh faith was started in a region which was more agricultural. So people used to work in the farmlands and all that, and then they needed good meal. So they would say, you do your work, come here, you'll have a meal really. So it has become a full tradition. On any of next, because you don't have much time right now, any of our next meetings, if you want, we could talk about, different aspects about the langar and the free meals and other things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that's a real good note to end on. I always tell my college students that if you want a really good Indian meal, and free, I mean, Indian food is expensive in LA. I mean, you go to an Indian restaurant, you'll pay, $20 a plate. But if you want authentic stuff, you go to the Sikh Gurdwara and try to find a time when they're serving langar, which is the kind of the open kitchen where it's not expensive type. It's just good, healthy food, good Indian healthy food. And so I've had many a langar in my lifetime, and some of the best langar I had was there in Amritsar itself. They're feeding you around the clock. You don't have to bring any food. They'll feed you round the clock. Well, Mr. Shah Singh, I really appreciate this. Thank you once again for helping me.